My name is Stephanie Conder, and I joined St Barnabas about 2.5 years ago with my partner Stephen Buckley. Lent is a time when people normally give up something, and this past year we have all given up something, and that is our physical contact with our fellow human beings. My understanding of Lent is that its purpose is to spend more time with God and focusing on God, whether that be by giving up something or indeed by taking up something positive. The nature of lockdown and the giving up of all that physical contact with people for so long has given me the urge to do something positive and to take up something for Lent. For me, that positive action is to listen to focus on, and consequently to understand the preaching and prayer that I hear each week, both at the Zoom church service and at the daily morning prayer group that I attend on Zoom. Now, to many of you, focusing on the sermon and prayer may sound pretty fundamental, and it is. But for me, there has been the creeping realisation that during those times, my mind drifts continually onto anything and everything. I hasten to add that this is not because the sermons and prayers are not attention holding. In fact, quite the opposite. When Stephen and I were looking for a new church family, we joined St Barnabas because of the prayer and the phenomenal teaching of Andy, Jean-Luc and H. It is just that for me, all the other things going on in my life just kept intruding on my listening and understanding. But it's funny how life has changed over these last few months. I have never been a person who prayed aloud or who participated in communal prayer. However, at the beginning of lockdown in March last year, I joined the Zoom morning prayer group and have found myself over time rarely missing a day, and now even leading the group some mornings, while also praying aloud for others and as part of a group. Very recently, I was asked by Pippa to help after the Zoom Sunday service with the online coffee, chatting about the service, and to help with prayer for those who might need it. Well, that was a bit of a wake-up call for me, as I knew I wouldn't be able to discuss the service and the sermon, as I drift off too much into my own thoughts. So I was about to be publicly found out. So, 3 weeks ago, with the first after-service chat looming, I knew something had to change. I sat down in my living room early before the service and read in advance the Bible passage that the sermon would be based on. And then throughout the service, I made notes on the prayers and in particular the brilliant teaching in the sermons of Andy, H and Jean-Luc. What a difference that made to my focus. Who would have thought that two such simple things as a bit of pre-reading and the taking of notes could make such a difference? It has taken me years to make those simple changes, and in such a short space of time, I have taken a huge leap forward already in my understanding of the Word, my faith, and through that, understanding God's guidance in my praying with and for others. So for me, Lent will be about positive action, about making time and space for God by focusing in these two very simple ways of preparation and note-taking. Recently, I was really taken with Tasa's testimony to Jade in the Zoom Sunday service, when she was asked what has kept her going through this last year. My understanding of what she said was that in starting to lead some of the hub meetings that she attended, God had led her to step up and to do something to help others' needs, thereby taking her eyes off her own insecurities and allowing God to provide for her in ways that he could not do when she was always receiving. This struck a real chord for me. By making my two simple changes of preparation and note-taking, God is enabling me to step up to provide for others through prayer. And by taking the focus off my insecurities, I am allowing God the space to provide for me in a way that he could not do while I was always receiving.